Hello everyone. How are you all? So, this is the beginning. In fact, it's the first of many, I hope, of a series that I want to do, talking and discussing and just evaluating the art and craft of teaching itself. So, anyone who knows me knows that teaching is something that I've associated myself very closely with over the years, despite whatever I've done my entire corporate life. Even when I was in college, way back when, even when I was in campus, I was continuously teaching. This is something I've done for a very long time, and it has been one hell of a journey. And to be really honest, I don't think I'm gonna stop. I feel like at times when I think about it, I feel like it's just the beginning. And it's a beautiful notion to feel that way about a certain profession. And I'm so thankful for that. So on that note, I want to start this series on teaching. And the idea is that I want to draw inspiration, basically stories from my past life, my entire teaching career, and my life, basically, even before that, and see what lessons I can draw from those. What can I really learn if I take a close look at these particular things? Because from one end, this profession has made me a better person down the line. And it has continuously made me a better person. In fact, if I rephrase it, it has kept me from not crossing the line. Myself being me with so many flaws, right, as every human being has. This profession has actually saved me in a sense. Yeah. And I'm so thankful for that. And what I really envision in my mind is a world where all teachers see the nobility in the profession. Now, if you look at modern society today, teachers are not given the value they're supposed to, I mean, they should have. I mean, teachers are treated like, I don't know, in some countries, peasants and beggars and dogs sometimes. I really don't understand it. I don't get it, because we live in a world where the greatest teachers we have had are basically our prophets. So even if you take Prophet Jesus, Prophet Moses, Prophet Noah, Prophet Muhammad, right? If you look at these individuals and their life stories, there's thousands and thousands of books, pages of books written about these people and how they live their life. They have been, in a sense, teachers to humanity. So if teachers hold such esteem, why? Why does society treat teachers in a certain way? What has happened, especially in our country? It's, I mean, you don't know where to begin. And the whole profession has been so commercialized. When I take a very close look at things, I don't really understand what the hell is going on. Where is this going? Where is this teaching directing the students to? Isn't it supposed to guide students? All these things come to my mind. So, because of all these things, that keep running around, I want to try and organize it and compile it into a series of videos. And this is the first of those. And today, in the first ever episode of whatever I'm going to name this, what I want to address is the idea of example. But how I see teaching is it is an opportunity for a teacher to lead by example, to show by example, to display by example, a number of things. Their personality, the way they approach content, the way they deliver, the way they behave, the way they react, the way they make their faces, the way they act, the way they joke. All of these are right up there, in either on the stage or in front of the classroom for students to see, or maybe through a Zoom camera view. Now, I don't really feel like Teachers, fundamentally teachers, understand the gravity of this concept of the need a teacher must, or the responsibility that a teacher must undertake in terms of exemplifying the things that the teacher is trying to learn. The best example is my entire teaching career. My entire teaching career is built on the legacy of one man who just who I learned from for little nearly 3 years. This is, of course, I'm talking about none other than Professor Nimal Hettiarachchi, right, who was the ex-dean faculty of engineering, University of Peradeniya. He was my physics teacher. I don't think he remembers me. Now, this is a man who has multiple PhDs and who was teaching grade 12, grade 13, that is around 17, 18, 19 years old, and he was already anyway working, and he was a highly esteemed member in the physics fraternity in the world. And imagine a class with 3,000 students. 3,000, right? Packed. And everywhere you see, you go into the middle of the class, you take a turn. You just turn. Okay, full round turn. My goodness, it's a sea of students. And you've got about a 20-meter length blackboard. And this man, this humble, innocent, and at the time when I was learning from him, he was what, around 70, mid 70s. This great man used to deliver physics like it was drinking water. So, the first thing that I can tell you is that it was by his example I realized that the most complicated content in the world can be delivered in the most simple manner, to the level that you realize it wasn't complicated in the first place. My goodness. Because I tried learning physics, from a number of people. I went to a couple of tuitions, at college. People tried to teach me physics. Didn't work, right? A couple of individual classes. No, none of it worked. And here was this man. And physics was my best subject. So for me, like I said, the way I approach teaching, a good amount of it, I credit to Professor Nimaletya Rachi. And one of the first examples, one of the most critical examples I learned from him was that you can really deeply think and just bounce back and forth these things you're learning with yourself and try to understand or comprehend them in a certain way, break it down into simple portions, and then deliver it. You deliver it because you have a 70-year-old man teaching what, 18, 19 years old. Imagine the level of simplicity he would have to come after multiple PhDs, having done physics experiments, experimenting on elements under conditions that have never ever before him in the world have experimented certain elements. This is a man who comes, what, 50 years to the level, 50 years below his age, and he's delivering contents in such simplicity, such beauty, such marvel. Sir, thank you very much. I don't know where the hell you are. I hope to see you soon. I've sent you a friend request. You haven't even touched it, I suppose. But this is one thing that I learned by your example. And I've carried it my entire lecturing career, teaching career. And I'm so thankful. That's the first thing. But example can be very dangerous also. I remember another down the line. There was a teacher. So, oh, okay. Let's leave that story for another time. Okay. See, as we go along, there are going to be so many stories, right? Actual real life stories based on true stories. These can be very, very informative to you. But I remember once when I was in grade 13, I was very busy, the college, everything I did was for Kingswood. For me, it was really not about me studying, learning, getting 3 A's or whatever, becoming a doctor. None of these things ran in my mind. For me, it was none for himself, but all for the school. You just do things for the school. And I believe that there was a reason why Blase said it. So I just did it. Apparently, I took it too seriously. But there was one incident where I had gone out of college during the college day, college time period, the active time period. I had gone out of the college to hand over certain letters with respect to a certain competition. So I was not in school. Then I come back. And what I realized was that during that day, there was a parents' meeting. And during this parents' meeting, they had called upon all the students by register name. And when my name had come up, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So, but a certain teacher was really pissed about this. And the fact of the matter is that he didn't anyway like me because I was not very easy to control. So, uh, so there are things to learn here. There are certain personality traits of this individual, and his controlling nature. In fact, I think he didn't try to control everyone, but when he saw someone out of control, he tried to exercise control, and I'm very resistant to that kind of control. I'm a team player. I will do whatever it requires with respect to a team. I will do anything, and as far as it's a team game, but control, no. Okay. So what happened was I came later, and then this particular person had realized I was in the school, teacher, and he came into my classroom with such speed, such strength. Came and he slapped me. Just one, one knock right out of the bat. I was down. Right, there were three desks toppled on top of the desks. I'm down, and I think after I got up, he hit me again. Okay, the second time it was a little slow. So this incident happened, and when I take this incident, okay, one thing I decided that day when it happened was I would never ever exercise physical violence in my classrooms because it didn't hurt physically. I mean, sure, when you get slapped full face, how would it be? I mean, this man was a giant of a man, okay. But the problem was that the example he gave me was a man out of control. And what pissed me off was I was out on business. I was out on the work. I was on the job. I wasn't out on anything non value adding. I was working for the college, Kingswood. This man, despite his anger, which is justified, okay, I wasn't in the parents' meeting, which is important. This man didn't take the time or the effort to listen to my side of the story. I mean, he didn't even let me speak a single word, right? And I have no grudge. I have no grudge, right? I love him. He's such a kind-hearted. He's such a good person. But what I want to tell you is that sometimes teachers, we have to be very careful because as learners, even subconsciously, we draw these examples from these people and from these personalities. And it can be very dangerous if you're learning from someone or if you're looking at someone and keeping them in a pedestal, someone who should not be in that level, okay? Someone who shouldn't be. And something I realized was at an early age, I had so many good teachers when I was young. Almost all the teachers, everyone, even this person who hit me here, his intention was good. He never had a bad intention. But then I moved out of college. Then I really stepped out into the real society. Then you start seeing what kind of teachers are these, especially in the higher education sphere. My goodness. So, with that incident, one of the lessons I learned was sometimes we look at things And those things can be examples for us to not to reject. Now, Nimal sir's example, it's an example to embrace. What a beautiful example. I'm going to learn from that. But there are certain examples you should be very careful. This is why, as a learner, is your responsibility to look at things that are happening, look at things that the teacher is doing, and then not take them at face value, okay, and give it time and draw from these lessons. So, on that note, for today, I'm going to wrap this up. But the summary, so to speak, is that as teachers, if you're a teacher, if you're a yeah, if you're someone who has been given the authority to speak in front of a certain audience by label, okay, because you're going to do some sort of just random speech in a Toastmasters club. That's not what I'm talking about. As a teacher, you're given that label. It means the learners are coming to you with the idea that, my God, there's a teacher. We're going to learn. We're going to listen to this guy, and we're going to learn from him. Now, when that happens, as teachers, we must have a deep sense of responsibility to ensure that we will become an example to these young minds, young, old, whoever. And because of that, we must be very careful. We must, first of all, we must lead by example. Like we must be very careful in saying things, and I'm saying this to myself also. And I keep reminding myself this, because you cannot preach someone. I don't call it teach, I call it preach. You cannot preach someone about things that you don't do, that you don't live by. And the funny thing is, especially as your students grow older, they see past the veil, they see the reality. At least a good portion of them, the portion that should be seeing it, will be seeing it. We don't really want to be in such a situation. Now, I haven't perfect any of these things that I'm going to talk about, but I am trying to improve myself. And so I do want to share this, because I hope you join me, and then by looking at you, I will also be further inspired, and we all keep feeding off each other in terms of inspiration and commitment and motivation. So remember, as a teacher, you're in a very powerful position. You have human lives in your hand, and therefore, it is your absolute duty, your responsibility. Take it seriously and ensure that you lead not simply by words, no, but by action. Action. Lead by example. I think that's a very important trait all teachers must have. And for learners, my request is patiently observe. Observe patiently. There's a lot you can learn, lot you must take, another lot that you shouldn't. So be very, very cautious. Patiently observe, think, analyze, evaluate, and then take. God bless.